Hello and welcome to the Voices of Forestry podcast. I'm your host, Seth Stevenson, the communications coordinator for the Arkansas Forestry Association. And today we're going to go out of the woods a little bit, but not too far, I promise. And we're going to be talking about some of the philanthropy opportunities that we have here in the Arkansas forestry industry. Before we do that, though, I do want to give a special shout-out to this month's sponsor, Shelby Taylor Trucking. You'll hear more from them later on in the show. But as we move forward today, I am joined by the development officer at the Arkansas Children's Foundation, Megan Flores. Megan and I work pretty closely together for all things log-a-load here in the state of Arkansas. Megan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely, yes. This one's going to be a fun one. This one's going to be interesting, and it is going to be, like I said, a little bit different than what we're used to or what we've talked about in the past, where we've talked about forestry practices. This one's going to be just a smidge different, but all good nonetheless. So before we hop into it, Megan, like as always, we want to see who our guest is, get a little bit of information about you. So just tell us what you do and who you are.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Arkansas and stepped away for a little bit in Nashville, Tennessee, worked there for about 8 years, but recently came back to my home state and super proud to be here. And I've been with Arkansas Children's a little bit over a year now, and I work with all 6 chapters of our log-a-load events across the state. And then I also work with several other Children's Miracle Network corporate partners. I kind of cover like that northeast corner of the state as well.
Okay, awesome. And now you are with the Arkansas Children's. It's not Arkansas Children's Hospital anymore. It's Arkansas Children's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I technically work for the Arkansas Children's Foundation, which is the philanthropic arm of the hospital system. And we raise funds, to support both Arkansas Children's Little Rock campus and Arkansas Children's Northwest. Now,
I know Arkansas Children's is pretty well known across Arkansas. You guys are a huge entity, a very welcoming entity here in our state. But could you just, for those that may not know who you are, can you just kind of give them a brief little rundown?
Yeah, no, we would definitely like to think so. Arkansas Children's is a level 1 pediatric trauma center and a level 4 NICU and PICU. Our cardiology program is actually ranked in U.S. News and World Report Best Children's Hospital list in 2019 and 2020. So we also, like I mentioned, have a campus out in Northwest Arkansas that's fairly new to some folks. So we're really proud of that and just continuing to make improvements throughout the state and hopefully improving child health for the future of Arkansas's children.
Now, I've only been working with you guys for a handful, 3 years since I've been here with the Forestry Association. But you guys are, just talking to you and some of the other folks over there, you guys are dedicated to, like you said, helping children across the state. You've opened up the new Northwest campus, which I know was a big deal when I was working up there. You're doing things in smaller communities to try to bring a healthier lifestyle to children.
Yeah, I think it's most important to us to be able to provide an expert level of care in our home state. Mm-hmm. So the last thing we want to hear is that someone had to go out of state to receive the care that they needed for their children. So that's our goal here. And then, Arkansas is ranked 40th of 50 states in overall child health and well-being. So there's still a lot of work to do. And that's why we're so thankful for groups like Log-a-Load who are raising money, to make this state a healthier one for our children.
So let's get into what exactly Log-a-Load is. This is something that I'm actually, I work with our Log-a-Load group, so I know a little bit about this, which is a first on our show. Usually I'm just kind of the guy in the corner soaking up information, but I can provide a little bit this time around. So the Log-a-Load for Kids of Arkansas is a group of people here in the forestry industry that have been around since 1993. And they have been getting together once a year to raise money for Arkansas Children's. And I believe, and Megan, correct me if I'm wrong at this point, we've raised over $10 million.
We have,
right?
Yeah. We met that, we celebrated that earmark in 2019.
Okay.
And so we are 10 million and growing. So super exciting and really, really proud.
Which is buck wild.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a
really
huge
is.
number.
Yeah, it's big. It's big.
And this group is made up of loggers. That's why it's called Log-a-Load for Kids. But it's actually a national organization as well. We're kind of focusing today a little bit on the Arkansas chapters, but Log-a-Load for Kids is a national organization.
It is, but actually Log a Load for Kids of Arkansas is ranked number 1 as far as the markets for Children's Miracle Network nationwide. And they've held this title for as long as I can remember, for several consecutive years in a row. So we're really, really proud of that accolade for them.
This should be a bit of a disclaimer too. We are going to be tooting our own horns just a smidge this time around. This is a group of people who are very dedicated, just like the people at Arkansas Children's. They're very dedicated to this cause, and want to help children across the state. And so, anytime we can toot their horn, we definitely want to, because like I said, these are people who are loggers. They're people who are out in the woods. I guess I should explain kind of how Log a Load got its name a little bit, but a group of loggers came together one day, back in the day, and said, hey, I've got this load of logs that we've just cut, and I'm going to donate whatever I make off of it to my local children's hospital. This wasn't in Arkansas. Where it started escapes me, but another logger heard that, said, hey, that's a good idea. I'll hop onto it, and it just kind of spread from there. So ever since, again, 1993 is when Arkansas started doing it, but we've had people come in, donate loads of logs, where the proceeds will go to the Children's Hospital. We do fish fry dinners. We do auctions are a big one. We do golf tournaments. We do, I believe we have a chapter that's also doing sport shooting tournaments. Mm-hmm. So we do a little bit of everything. We've got 6 chapters, like Megan mentioned, and they have a big event, each of them, every year. So we've got 6 plus big events every year. Some of them do 2, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, a couple golf tournaments throughout as well. So and actually, the Arkansas Log a Load chapters historically have funded programs that advance cardiac care and emergency services for the children of Arkansas and beyond. But several of the other chapters throughout the United States, might raise funds for different things in the hospital systems. But that's what ours raised money for.
Yes, yeah, and we have, again, Megan, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but every couple years we'll have a new kind of goal that they're working and raising money for.
Yeah. We usually commit to anywhere between a 1 to 5 year funding commitment. So, like you mentioned, they have surpassed that $10 million mark, but they've also raised funds throughout their years of inception since 1993 for things like the emergency department and trauma unit, pediatric cardiovascular surgery. We have raised money to support our Angel One program, which is actually a helicopter transport program. And I just want to take a minute to brag on this because it's really fascinating and it's just a really cool thing that we offer at Arkansas Children's. So Angel One Transport can reach any child in the state of Arkansas in 55 minutes or less. So we're talking, in the heat of a really intense, emergency situation, we are there for our children. So, and we transport on average 1,800 patients per year. So obviously this is a huge program that's necessary in the state. So we're really proud of it. It's essentially like a mobile intensive care unit in the air. So really cool. We also have raised money for endowments in imaging and radiation programs. And we also have supported endowed chairs throughout our hospital. So these are doctors who are chosen by committees at the hospital, and they get to use these funds for their program development and also research. So we just recently endowed 3 different chairs to the tune of $1.5 million. We just wrapped that up last year. So yeah, we're really proud of these folks, and they've just done amazing work to advance these programs in cardiology and emergency and trauma.
Yes, it's been fantastic seeing some of the things that they get together. We can kind of hop into the year that must not be named, 2020.
Yes.
Last year, which kind of threw a wrench, obviously, in a lot of different plans. But for these folks, that they wouldn't be kept down by a pandemic. They tried to come up with new, safer ways to continue to raise funds for Arkansas Children's. We've got a goal here that we want to meet, and they are wanting to make sure that they are still hitting their strides. So yeah,
I think it's important to note too that historically Log a Load raises over $500,000 annually for us. And even during COVID, they still raised almost $300,000 through phone and letter campaigns, online auctions and raffles, and just generous support of sponsors who donated despite not even having events. Mm-hmm. So it's just something, important to mention, because these folks are just so giving and so passionate about this cause that they were able to pull together $300,000 in a year where, a lot of us thought that we would see nothing. Mm-hmm. So I'm just really proud of that for them for this year.
No, the dedication is incredible. I'm trying to think of a better word than incredible, and incredible was the one that came to mind. But the dedication for these folks who organize these events, plus the people who are willing to show up every year and give, let's us not forget them, because they're a huge part of what makes Logolode so successful, is the support from our communities and the people who are willing to give and make sure that children have a better chance at a better, healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey everybody, Seth here. So Megan and I got very excited talking about Logolode for Kids that we forgot to take a break to hear from this month's sponsor, Shelby Taylor Trucking. So we here at AFA want to give a special shout out and a special thank you to this month's sponsor, Shelby Taylor Trucking.
Shelby Taylor Trucking serves all your timberland needs in South Central Arkansas. With over 50 years in the industry, Shelby Taylor Trucking has established themselves as trustworthy leaders in the industry. From planting to harvesting to hauling your timber, Shelby Taylor Trucking is ready to serve you. Follow them on all social media platforms at Shelby Taylor Trucking. Learn more by visiting their website at staylortrucking.com. That's staylortrucking.com.
Again, we want to say thank you to Shelby Taylor Trucking for their sponsorship of this month's episode. Now, back to the show. Can we talk about what our most recent goal is?
Yeah. So most recently, the Arkansas Logolode for Kids has pledged a 5-year funding commitment through 2023, and this will be $2.5 million towards the development of the Heart Institute on the campus of Arkansas Children's in Little Rock. Okay. So basically, obviously, we have a heart center at the hospital now. There's just a few pillars of success that kind of upgrade that to be considered a Heart Institute. So that kind of includes clinical excellence, research and education, philanthropy, and community outreach. So once formed, the Arkansas Children's Hospital Heart Institute will be the only comprehensive pediatric heart institute in the whole state. Wow. So just a really, fun thing to be able to say that they helped. I mean, we couldn't have done it without them. Yeah. So we're just excited to have Logolode be a part of this new development on the Little Rock campus.
So this is taking, the Heart Center and just making it that much better.
Yeah, just taking it up a notch. I mean, we've already established 2 of the most technologically advanced hybrid heart cath labs in the country. Are already a part of this kind of development over the years that we've already started this. So I think it's important to note that our heart patients are some of the most critically ill patients that we see. So our goal is to ensure that these cardiac patients never have to leave our state to receive the treatment that they need, like I mentioned earlier. Also, just some, fun facts so you can know how necessary this, center is for our children of Arkansas. We perform over 1,000 echocardiograms each month. We treat 600 patients every year that have congenital heart defects from either before birth through adulthood. And also we perform more than 340 heart transplants. Arkansas Children's treats pediatric patients through their lifespan. So I think when a lot of people think that, that people develop this disease as a child, well, there's also some unique traits to childhood illnesses that they also have to treat when they become adults. So we continue to treat those unique features, and this obviously includes things like congenital heart disease.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so it's not, once you're out the door, you're done. It's a continuous
a lot of people don't realize that we're not, sometimes especially with heart patients, that we're not just treating children, we're treating adults as well who've kind of developed these unique situations that continue to need special treatment throughout their adulthood.
And speaking of, I heard this when I first started working here at the Forestry Association in working with the Lugalo groups, that you're hard pressed to find someone within your general circle of friends, family, whatever, who has not been affected by Arkansas Children's in some way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I would find it hard to believe if you didn't know at least a handful of kiddos who've, used our services throughout their life. And of course, we hope to see as little of them as possible, but accidents happen and disease happens. So we are here for our kids, and we couldn't do it without the help of Logaload.
So we should, I realized we've talked about Logaload, and we have 6 chapters, but we have not said where those chapters are located.
Yes, yeah.
So Megan, do you want to go ahead and kind of
Yeah.
Where
we are kind of sprinkled throughout the state. We have really great representation geographically. So we've got a chapter in Bradley County. We've got Central Arkansas. Their event actually happens in Sheridan, but kind of, reaches that whole central area. We have Drew County and South Central, which is represented in Arkadelphia, but again, that whole south part of the state, the River Valley, and also Texarkana.
Yes. So, and we've, Texarkana, I believe, is our newest group. They've been around for a handful of years at this point. But yeah, we've got a good swath of Arkansas covered with events and opportunities to donate if that is something that you're interested in. Yeah. But everyone is unique. Every chapter is unique. They do similar events, but each one is its own party in a way.
Yeah. And we're so excited because 2021 is proving to be a normal, quote unquote, year.
Quote unquote.
For the end of the year, we are actually kicking off our first in-person event in over a year in Sheridan this weekend. We'll have a golf tournament, and then we'll continue on with our in-person, fish fries and clay shooting events and different, just like block parties is how I love to describe them, because it's just such a community-driven grassroots event, and you just really get a feel for the personality of those communities, and they're just so fun to attend. So I'm excited to start doing them in person again.
And if you are in any of these areas or just anywhere in Arkansas, we have a calendar of events for our Logalo groups. We also have a Facebook page that you can follow if you want, but I will make sure that we link that calendar of events on our Arkansas Forestry Association website, and you can check back in there and see when the nearest event is for you. Like Megan said, we've got one coming up here just in a couple of days. We're as of this recording here in June, but we are starting to kind of get back into the swing of in-person events as long as things continue to have an upward tick this for 2021. But we encourage you to come out, see what's up. Like I said, a lot of them are fish fry dinners where you pay a small fee. You get in, and that money goes straight to Arkansas Children's. We do have some golf tournaments if you're interested in golf, stuff like that. So just check out our site. Check out that link in the description of this episode, and you can get some more details.
And the fish is good. I dream about this fish all year long.
if you love Arkansas catfish, we've got excellent news for you, because you'll have plenty of opportunities to snag you some. One other thing, though, that you mentioned this is Logaload for Kids is a grassroots organization, essentially. I explained this was started by just loggers in the woods who had an idea and made it come true. But this is grassroots, and that's saying something.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, my favorite thing about working with the volunteers at Logaload is just their passion. They're so passionate. Nothing stops them. COVID didn't stop them. All the, changes ahead won't stop them. Mm-hmm. They continue to grow. Every year they raise more and more money. And their resilience and their passion is so heartwarming, and they're just really fun to work with. They're just a good group of people. I always feel better after I have meetings with them and just know that, their hard work is being put into these tangible, resources that we're helping people with on a daily basis. They're really making a difference.
In Arkansas speak, they're a hoot, essentially. It's a good group of people to work with and to just, be around. One thing that I do want to mention, and here we go, toot toot, is that, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe, last I heard, that Logaload for Kids of Arkansas is second only in donations to Walmart.
Yes, you are correct. Yeah. This will be for our Children's Miracle Network
Yes.
partners.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So, but that is saying a lot.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. If you folks don't know anything about Walmart, if you're listening up north or out west, Walmart is a big
the
deal.
Antarctic.
Yeah, right. Walmart is a thing, and they raise a lot of money, but so does Logaload.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so cool to be able to say that they're just second under Walmart.
And I honestly didn't believe that. when I first heard it, I did not believe that, because you think about it, it was just the sheer amount of stores, because I believe that they collect donations at all of their stores and at their home office, aggregate that, and then make a large donation in the name of Walmart. If you think of how many stores that Walmart itself just has and is collecting donations just in Arkansas alone, versus 6 chapters of folks who just get together once or twice a year to raise money, like that's almost, again, I did not believe it. So unbelievable.
Yeah, it's incredible. It really is. And I think it's important to note too that Logaloads, all of their donations are endowments. So if you don't know what endowments are, I'll give you a little financial lesson. They're permanently invested funds. And at Arkansas Children's, the principal is never spent. So the earnings create a source of income every year for Arkansas Children's in perpetuity. So this money is never going away. It's just continually invested. It continues to grow, which I just think is a really cool thing to note, because, they're making just such a big difference on an annual basis and forever and always.
And now, again, we talk about the Arkansas chapter, but this is a national organization. So if you were not in Arkansas, but you are in the United States, I do encourage, look up the Logaload for Kids page and try to see if there is a group in your state or anywhere near you, if that is something you are just genuinely interested in, helping out the children in your state, because that is ultimately what Logaload for Kids is about, is helping children across the country, not just Arkansas, not just Georgia, not just Alabama, but just across the country, to making sure that they grow up as healthy as they can be, to be better for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's I don't know off the top of my head, but there are a lot of Children's Miracle Network hospitals throughout the U.S., like you mentioned, and they several of them have Logaload chapters. So yeah, I'd love to hear that this kind of inspired maybe somebody not in Arkansas to join a chapter somewhere else.
Well, and that's that's kind of what we hope to see. We are a forestry-based podcast, and we talk a lot about forestry topics. And like I said at the beginning of the show, this one's a little bit different, but I think it's an important part of the industry, that it's not just, going out in the woods, growing trees, cutting them, making them into products that we use every day, that there is a philanthropic side to what it is that we're doing. We are out there. You have these very generous people trying to raise money for others who are in desperate need of it. So I think this is a part of the industry that's not talked about often, but should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, take a look, see if there's something in your area. If you are curious, if you're in Arkansas, we'd love to see you at some of the events. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me if you want, or someone here at the Forestry Association, which I should say too, we facilitate the program. They are independent chapters where they kind of plan everything. AFA facilitates them, and I work with Megan quite closely, so I'm kind of the liaison between the chapters and the hospital or the foundation itself. So, but one thing I want to ask you, Megan, too, before we kind of start wrapping up here, like I said, last year was kind of a bit of a wrench in the plans.
Yes.
And that was kind of your first year with us.
It was.
But if you could, just, someone who's only been here for a year, you are from Arkansas, left, came back. What was it like to see the dedication, the effort put into trying to raise this money? I mean, from your personal viewpoint, what was that like?
Well, I will try not to get choked up. This has got me in my feels. No, it really is inspiring. I think when I was given Logaload, I had heard nothing but wonderful things about how passionate they were. But to see, there was literally never a conversation. There was never a meeting where they threw their hands up and said, well, this is just a weird year. We're just going to like put it on pause for a minute. That never happened. They immediately put their boots in the trenches and were like, okay, we'll figure it out. What can we do? Can we call our friends? Can we do a phone-a-thon? Can we figure out online auctions? I mean, we had one chapter, River Valley, little shout out. They raised almost $100,000 just doing an online auction, and they'd never done that before, and they just figured it out because they knew that COVID didn't stop the needs of Arkansas children on a daily basis for emergency situations and diseases that were happening despite COVID. So I think it's just important to note that they never once shied away from the challenge, and they pulled through, and it was just amazing work, and it was a learning experience for all of us. It was certainly a strange year to be my first year with them, but we learned a lot of lessons, and we even had one event in Drew County. Like, they actually did their event in person, very, very safely. It was masked. They had a lot of COVID precautions, so it was kind of in a lull of cases here in Arkansas, and they were able to do it. So we just had a lot of resilience, a lot of passion, a lot of creativity, and I couldn't be more proud.
Well, awesome. Yeah. And this year it's going to be a stark difference than last year. Having been to some of these events before, it's going to be quite different, but fun nonetheless.
Yes, I'm so excited to be in person. I just cannot wait to meet some, because some of these people I still haven't met in person, which is wild. I was able to meet like the core group of volunteers before COVID hit here, but a lot of our sponsors and a lot of our patients in these communities who rally around all of our events, I haven't got to meet them, so I'm excited.
And that is one thing you mentioned. The patients, that is one thing each chapter does try to do at their events is, find a child in their community who received treatment with you guys and highlight them, just to kind of put, a face to what they're doing, which, is excellent. These kids are older now than when they first entered the hospital and are doing excellent. And so to kind of see what people's donations are going to, see the fruits of their labor, if you will, is fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, nothing is better than to see a healthy kiddo who received treatment because of these funds and see them out in their community and living their best life.
Oh, so, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Megan, is there anything else that I may have missed that you want to kind of tackle before we start wrapping stuff up?
I think we covered a lot of it. Mostly, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all of our dedicated Loggerload volunteers and donors across the state of Arkansas for investing in a healthier future for our children. Loggerload continues to be a huge part of our 5-year strategic plan that we just rolled out. And we could not do any of that without Loggerload in our corner. So just thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, and thank you for all the work that you're doing in our corner there at the foundation. I would be just utterly lost without you helping us do some of the stuff that we're trying to do. So thank you. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to thank you for joining us as well and giving us a listen. As always, I want to give a special shout out to Rob McCormick / Some Guy Named Rob for the use of our theme song, The Same Love. That's off of his album, The Folkster. You can find more of his music on Spotify, and we'll have a link to his actual website in the description of this episode as well. I want to give another special thank you to Shelby Taylor Trucking for their sponsorship this month. We appreciate their support of the show and to make sure that we're keeping the lights on, so to speak. But if you want more information about the Arkansas Forestry Association, you can find us at arkforest.org. That's ARKFORESTS.org. We'll come back next month when we'll have a new topic, a new discussion, and a new Voice of Forestry.